Welcome to Football with Cheese. We have another big trade. This is definitely a busier day than I expected. I thought I'd make at least 2 videos, maybe 3. Probably going to have to make 4, maybe 5. Still about 30 minutes left to go while I'm recording this video in the deadline. So the Jets have been very active. We're going to get into the Quinnen Williams trade from the Jets to the Cowboys. But first, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notification. At the end, if you have not seen it, I will link the Sauce Gardner trade instant reaction. Make sure you check that out if you have not. Okay. So this trade, I'm probably going to have a different opinion than a lot of people. Unfortunately, I do have ESPN on the TV. Almost always it's just watching games. But NFL Network is re-showing Monday Night Football. So I need a TV with breaking news, so if anything happens. But I bring that up because Marcus Spears works for ESPN. I can't believe anyone would hire him. He's a complete moron. He was happy about this trade. So that tells you that the Cowboys really screwed up. He used to play for the Cowboys. Tells you the Jets won this trade if Marcus Spears likes it, because he's terrible. But let's get into it. So, Cowboys had 2 first and 2 second round picks the next 2 years because of the Micah Parsons trade. They got Kenny Clark, a defensive tackle from Green Bay, who's past his prime, and got the Packers' next 2 first round picks. So Jerry had floated the rumor that they were going to use these picks in a trade. He even said last night during the game, the Monday Night Football game where they lost to the Cardinals, got pretty much dominated. He said they had a trade in place, but he wasn't going to tell what it was. I don't know how these things don't get leaked. Everything gets leaked nowadays. I'm assuming it wasn't the Logan Wilson linebacker from the Bengals for a 7th rounder. But let's get into this. So, once again, we'll start with the Jets' perspective. They traded Sauce Gardner. They're 1-7. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have a very good roster. It's not a bottom 3 roster to me before these trades, but it's definitely a bottom 10 roster, and what they have is not working. If you are not winning with Pro Bowl players, and you're not going to win the next couple years, trade those guys in their prime if you get a lot back for them. And that's what they did with Sauce. That's what they're doing with Quinnen Williams. I like the Jets' deadline approach. Plus, and I mentioned this before, their new executive, Darren Muge, I still don't know his name. How do you say it? He's brand new. He's got at least 3 or 4 years to turn this around. He's not going to get fired anytime soon. So he can afford to do this. This is a full rebuild. The Jets have been terrible the last 2 years. And now they have 2 first-round picks next year, 2 seconds, and 3 first-round picks in 2027. So I like this move. Quinnen Williams, let's talk about him before we talk about the Cowboys' perspective. He was a top 5 pick out of Alabama, absolute stud in the SEC. And he's had a very good career. In 2022 and 2023, he was one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. He was dominant. You had to double him on every play. The last 2 seasons, or a season and a half, he just hasn't been that same player. I said the same thing about Sauce Gardner. Those 2 years, 2022, 2023, the Jets had the best defense in the NFL both years. And both of those players, Williams and Sauce Gardner, were playing like elite all-pro players. I'm not blaming them for the defense dropping off. I think when the team is bad, we talked about this in video about the Dolphins. When your team is bad, it's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to really give it all in every play and perform as well as you should. But Quinnen Williams' play really dropped off last year. Now this year, he's been a really good run defender, but he has not been the same interior pass rusher that he was in the 2022 and 2023 season. That was his strength coming out of Alabama, was his pass rush. Now his strength is run defense, and the Cowboys, boy, could they use run defense. But Williams has a pretty high cap number next couple years. He is signed for 2 more years after this year. So you're going to get him in his 27, 28, 29-year-old seasons. So that is good for the Cowboys. At least he's long-term. Now let's talk about the compensation. Cowboys are giving up their 2nd-round pick next year's draft, 2026 draft. Their 1st rounder in 2027, the higher of the Packers and Cowboys pick. Very likely it's the Cowboys pick. And defensive tackle Mazi Smith. Mazi Smith was a first-round pick a few years ago out of Michigan. I don't know many draft analysts that had him in the top 50. They took him in the 20s. Absolute disaster. He's probably the worst defensive tackle in the NFL. He has since he came into the league. He's just awful. I don't know how much longer he'll be in the league. Maybe the Jets can get something out of him. So he's really insignificant to this trade, but that is a lot to give up. And I know they have the draft capital because of the Micah Parsons trade. But here's the thing. You're giving up a first rounder, the higher of the two, in 2027, a second rounder this year, which will probably be in the top 10 or 12 picks in the second round. The Cowboys are 3-5-1. They're coming off a game at home where they got pretty much dominated by the Cardinals. They're not a very good team. They have a good offense, didn't look so good last night, and their defense is crap. Even with Quinnen Williams, it's still not a good defense. And here's another thing. You traded for Kenny Clark. You insisted on having him as part of the trade for Micah Parsons. You needed defensive tackle help. That's what Jerry Jones said. And Kenny Clark, he's been all right, nothing great. And you would not have had to make this trade if you had, one, hit on Mazi Smith, or two, Kenny Clark had played like he used to, like a Pro Bowler. He's not a Pro Bowler anymore. When they made the trade, it's funny. They said Pro Bowler Kenny Clark. He hadn't been a Pro Bowler for years. And they make this trade, he said All-Pro Quinnen Williams. Well, he's had been an All-Pro for a few years. The Cowboys are trying to change the narrative. But this is terrible for the Cowboys. You have all these picks. You can reload the defense because it's bad. You can help on the offensive line. And yes, Quinnen Williams is a good player, but he's not a great player anymore. Maybe he becomes that player again, but I doubt it. So you get 2 first-rounders for Micah Parsons, who's an elite player, and give back a first and second for Quinnen Williams? That's terrible. That's way too much. Jerry has no clue what he's doing. Keep those picks. Reload the roster. Unfreaking believable. Cowboys fans should be livid. This is a terrible move for them. They do have 2 first-round picks in next year's draft, but they don't have a second. And in the 2027 draft, they lose their highest pick in the first round of 2, and it might be pick 30, 31, 32, the Packers pick, because the Packers have a very good roster. Just need a better head coach. So basically, you gave up Micah Parsons, and you've added a first-round pick next year, a late first-round pick, and gave up your second, and got Quinnen Williams. Just, that's not enough. That's not good enough. Jerry Jones, my God. Quinnen Williams is the best defensive tackle on the Cowboys. There's no doubt about it, and they'll help the run defense, but they're not going anywhere this year. They're not making the playoffs with Quinnen Williams. They're 3-5-1. The NFC is loaded. It is deep. 10-7 is probably not getting it. You probably have to go 11-6 to make the postseason. They're not winning 11 games. Now they have a tie. So the only chance Cowboys have making playoffs is to lose one more game. They have to pretty much go 10-6-1, in my opinion. And they have 5 losses right now. Look at their schedule. It's not happening. So they're not making the playoffs this year. And I'll say this to Jets fans who are watching. You should be excited. I know it's been a terrible season. I know you were bad last year as well. But you build championship teams through the draft. They can get a young core together for the next 4 or 5 years and completely rebuild this roster. And if they hit on these picks, they're going to have a ton of talent in 2 or 3 years on this roster. Young talent, but a ton of talent. So Jets fans, make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell. Tell all your friends. On this channel, we cover all 32 teams, and we will talk about the Jets a ton leading up to the draft. I cover the draft for this channel. I do probably 40 or 50 videos in April. And I will definitely do multiple Jets draft videos because they will be heavily involved. So tell your friends. Like I said, subscribe, hit the bell. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Lights Out podcast tonight, me and Mike, where we talk MLB, college football, and of course, NFL. It's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Link is in the description. Check these out if you have not, and I'll see you in the next video.